All right, it's 6 o'clock. I'm going to go ahead and call the county board meeting to order. John, if you could call the roll.
Atkins?
Here.
Crawford?
Here.
Deppert? Mark Goddard?
Here.
Sam Goddard? Graff?
Here.
Paul?
Here.
Harris? Hopkins?
Here.
Josting?
Here.
Longfellow?
Here.
Mennel?
Here.
Mingus?
Here.
Nelms?
Here.
Paget? Frail? Rich Simpson? Schmidtall?
Here.
Schneider? Sin?
Here.
Stahl?
Here.
Chairman Zimmerman?
Here.
You have a quorum.
We have a quorum. We'll do business if we could rise for the invocation and pledge. Heavenly Father, thank you for this beautiful weather that you've given us. Thank you for the rains. Thank you for the dryness so that the farmers can get in the field. We just see your faithfulness in the seasons, and we thank you for that. I lift up this meeting tonight, Father. I pray that we can debate these issues in a way that honors you and honors the citizens of Tazewell County. Thank you for our employees and for all the citizens of our county. They make our jobs easier, and I pray that the things that we can do can be good stewards and just honor them with the decisions that we make. Thank you for those that are overseas in harm's way and locally, for our sheriff's office and the first line responders. We thank you that they're watching over us. We just lift up this meeting to you, Father. We know that you're a sovereign God, and that gives us hope in chaotic times. We love you. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we have only 2 citizens' remarks this evening. The first is Tim Bear. Tim, if you could come up and tell us your address.
Tim Bear, 23785 Augustine Road, Tremont, Illinois 61568. For my comments tonight, I want to recognize the work that our Tazewell County board members do for the citizens of Tazewell County. I have noticed that some board members do sincerely try to make good decisions for Tazewell County, and I thank all of our board members for their efforts to do what is best for Tazewell County, even if their vote goes against what I would prefer. I want to especially commend and encourage the board members that have stood up and have voted how they feel about the various issues before the board, even if it goes against the state law that has tried to usurp the power that properly belongs to county board members across the state. Thank you for the courage to do what is right for our county. Your efforts are very much appreciated. And I want to encourage our board members to become informed of the many problems of green energy systems, both locally and across the country. There is value in letting other communities be the first to experience and deal with these problems. The number of articles that I have noticed describing green energy problems is alarming and does certainly command attention and awareness of what can go wrong. Both we and future generations will benefit from a prudent caution of the early stages of the green energy industry. Again, I thank all board members for their service to our community, as it can be a difficult matter to both understand and vote for what is best for Tazewell County. But it is worth the effort, per Abraham Lincoln quote. The struggle of today is not altogether for today, it is for a vast future also.
All right. And then Elton Roki.
evening. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. Elton Roki, I'm with the Tazewell County Stop the CO2 Pipeline. I just want to give you some updates. The only true carbon capture and sequestration pipeline in the whole country right now is down in Decatur, Illinois. They came in 7 or 8 years ago about how safe it's going to be, how prosperous it's going to be for the community and that. Come to find out 2 weeks ago that they had a major leak in one of their wells down there, not the injection well, but the monitor well. And that's, over 4 years ago, they found out they had a leak. Now, for the last 4 years, they've been messing around, trying to figure out what the problem is, trying to fix it, trying to hide it from everybody. Didn't report it to the city, the state, the Illinois EPA, nobody. Cat got out of the bag 2 weeks ago. Found out it's been going on for 4 years. Apparently what happened is that as they were injecting this CO2, the underground vapor cloud was spreading and spreading and spreading. Now the well is actually out of their permitted territory for it to spread. They don't know how far this has spread. Their emergency shutoffs didn't work properly. Finally ended up pulling the casing and found out that the whole thing had corroded from the CO2 being in contact with the briny solution. The EPA has cited them for some of the errors, but they're still letting them inject the CO2 in the ground down there. If it gets in there, it already got past one layer of the cap rock, and they're not sure how far it's spread or where it's gone. So the first project basically was an experiment, and it's failed miserably. And I just want to give you guys a heads up what's going on and what we're facing. It's an ADM project. It's ADM that's running around Wolftown through Tazewell County. And if you look at their record of EPA errors or violations, workers' rights violations, they've been cited in the last 10 years for everything from price fixing to who knows what, millions and millions of dollars worth of fines paid. And these big corporations, they do a risk assessment evaluation, and they say, hey, you know what? It's cheaper to pay the fine than to fix the problem. And so, I know you guys are getting tired of hearing from me, but it's a heads up. And I've been at this for a year now. I could be fishing every day. I've been retired for 15 years. Haven't been fishing for a year. Only because I want to let the people of Tazewell County know what's coming. I'm not trying to be a chicken little, hey, the sky is falling. But when you see the pipe layers in your backyard, it's too late to do anything about it. So hopefully we can get something done. Another thing I've heard from this committee, or from this county board, since I've been here, is comments like, there's so much government overreach these days. And if we're mandated on how we have to vote on an issue, why even have a county process? Tomorrow night, we're gonna have two in the Republican representatives, Travis Weaver and Neil Anderson will be over to Coffee Connection for a roundtable meeting. Pipeline will come up. It's a good idea for you guys to get in there. Let them know what you're thinking. Let them know what you're feeling. Instead of just saying, there's nothing we can do about it. Hope somebody's listening to me out there, and I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thanks, Elton. All right, we have one presentation and two proclamations tonight. We're going to start with the United Way presentation. So Heather Robinson, Jennifer Samuto, and Keith McKeever, if you guys could come forward. And anybody else on your team? That'd be great.
Thank you for spending a few minutes with us tonight. I know you have a lot on your agenda. We really appreciate it. You may have heard of United Way before. You may not entirely know what we do. This happens a lot. So we have about 10 minutes to clue you in on a lot of information, so I'll go as fast as I can. Please let me know if you have questions. The Heart of Illinois United Way and Pekin United Way, our job is to serve Tazewell County. Our job is to understand what the needs are in the community and how to best serve the people in our community with their health and human service needs. And we're very lucky to have Carol Myrna here today and Dave Mingus as well, who both really understand these challenges. 1 in 3 people in this county uses United Way services. That's a lot. Think about all the customers that walk into your business, all the employees in your businesses. 1 in 3 people are using these services on a day-to-day basis. we have a very efficient, effective model that we use to serve our communities. And I have to go quickly, so I don't have a lot of time. I could spend an hour just on this slide. We have a data-driven process that we use to determine which programs are the most efficient and effective. So we don't fund agencies, we fund programs. For example, the Center for Prevention of Abuse might come to us with 7 or 8 programs to be funded. We might not fund all of them. We start with a community assessment. We've got a few copies here tonight. It's a very thick document. If you're trying to fall asleep at night, great way to do that. There's a lot of data in here that pertains to Tazewell County that you may want to take a look at. It's also available on our website. This data helps drive where we invest, and then we have a data-driven process that helps us decide what kind of outputs are we looking at, so how many people are served, and what kind of outcomes are we seeing? What kinds of changes in knowledge and changes in behavior are we seeing for the people receiving the services? That's how we can stretch every dollar to be as efficient and effective as possible. The great news is we have a team of volunteers that makes these decisions. I don't have to, Heather doesn't have to, Keith doesn't have to. Our volunteers decide where those dollars should go based on data that helps drive those. But you see there's a red heart up there. We don't make all of these decisions just with data. I love data. The community assessment data really helps us too. But you have to follow your heart, right? So follow your heart, but trust the data. Trust but verify. What's really interesting, I think, about this community assessment is we always cover 3 different areas: education, financial stability, and health. And each year, or each 3 years that we do this, we have a special section. The special section in this assessment is around mental health. And the data is staggering. It is frightening, and what's happening with our young people is the most frightening. And I think a lot of it is actually preventable. Mental health is a driver for a lot of things around issues that people are facing around homelessness and other issues. Again, if we had a lot more time, I could get into some of the detail, but it's here and I encourage you to take a look at it as you're making decisions for your county. This is Heather's best part, so I'm gonna let her talk about it.
Thank you. This is my favorite slide. So we are big fans of data. I love data. In fact, we had one of our organizations that said to us that they thought it would be really fun to have a spreadsheet contest. I don't know who's in on this, but I'm in on this. I want to judge the spreadsheet contest, right? You get data and you have to make a spreadsheet and then I get to decide which one's the best. I'm all in on that. But the reality is behind every single number is a story. It's someone's actual life that they're living and they're connected to a variety of different people. And so this year, because we are so lucky to get information from our partner agencies, not only when they're applying for grants, but when they give us quarterly updates about the success stories that they're seeing, and Carol could tell you a lot about that. We wanted to share those stories with the people who invest and make it possible for us to do the work that we do, and so that we've included these. So I'm just gonna give you a minute to take a look at these and really reflect on the variety of constellations of impact that would happen for every single one of these stories that happens. I'm sold out for the education story. I have a 4th grader. And school is not his favorite thing. I have 3 kiddos. 2 of them love school. 1 of them loves to be on any field that includes a ball. That's his favorite place to be. And when I imagine this 4th grader getting support of a stranger who's just there to encourage him and help him do his very best, I'm blown away. Because the reality is that this is a measurable outcome. He raised his grade a letter grade. His report card turned out amazing at the end of the year. But the truth is, that young man walked into 5th grade this year. This is one of last year's success stories. Can you imagine how he walked into 5th grade with a new confidence and a level of resilience that he didn't have before? Because he knew that not only was there someone out there that wanted to help him see that he could succeed, but there were people who invested in his success who never even met him. What a beautiful story that we get to tell. And as the mom of a 4th grader, it blows me away every single time. So take a moment, reflect on these as we continue to share about the impact that we get to make because of the support of so many people who have invested across over 200 organizations to say, we believe in the work that we can do together.
I think that's a great talking point around this community, this region. There is something really unique and special about the people that live here. We are practical and generous, and I cannot think of a better way to address community needs in the long run. And when we can address these things and we have a community of people that are resilient, we can handle anything that comes our way. Even a clicker that doesn't work on the PowerPoint. There we go. One of the things that we also work on at the Heart of Illinois United Way is homelessness. And I know in Tazewell County, this is not an issue that is unique to this county. Homelessness is a very complex issue. We have one of the strongest continuums of care in the country. That means that all of the federal and state dollars for homelessness that come in for Peoria, Tazewell, Woodford, and Fulton counties come through the Heart of Illinois United Way using a data-driven process to ensure that we are investing in addressing homelessness before it happens, when people are on the verge of homelessness, and as they go through the spectrum of homelessness. One of the most interesting statistics, I think, is that we have it's like recidivism, but when we think about returns to homelessness in our region, the returns to homelessness are less than 1%. Returns to homelessness are less than 1%. So think about what that means from a human standpoint. Think about what that means from an efficiency standpoint. Those dollars, you're not having to take someone through the process more than once, right? We have other communities calling us and saying, how are you guys doing this? In our region, we have gotten to functional zero for veterans homelessness. That means any veteran that presents, we have a bed for them. By next December, we will have gotten to functional zero for family homelessness. I cannot stress enough what a big deal this is. There is nowhere else in the state of Illinois, and I know I'm not supposed to say this, but there are very few other areas in the country that have figured this out. We have wonderful partners in Salvation Army and Dream Center and Phoenix Community Development and the Center for Prevention of Abuse and many others that know how to do this work well. They are addressing the root causes of homelessness at the same time while serving people in their immediate needs. This is an incredible program, and again, I could talk for a very long time. It's an important issue to our community because if you don't get someone housed, how can we deal with any of the other issues that they're having? It's critical. And 211. If you have not heard about 211 yet, I feel like I talk about 211 every day, and every time I talk about it, someone says, I've never heard of that. 211 is like 911 for non-medical emergencies. Any kind of health or human service need that someone has, you can call 211. I've called 211 myself after the tornado in Washington. I called for a parent that had dementia, and I had to tell myself, oh wait, I can use this resource too. There's quite a bit of information available. We have more than 10,000 calls a year that go to 211 that serve 7 counties. It's updated every single day. So we're never sending someone to a bed that isn't available, to a pantry that isn't open, and everyone that calls gets about 5 referrals. So we are getting people connected because there are so many fantastic resources, and it's almost impossible to know what they all are. It's happening so fast. 211 is a fantastic resource. I encourage you all. I keep cards in my car. If I see someone on the corner, someone that needs something, I hand them out like candy. If you need those, we can absolutely get you some of those. 211 is a fantastic resource for this community. Any nonprofit can put their information into the system. We also have volunteer programs. This is a great community because we have fantastic volunteers. We've got really smart, thoughtful people. We have a website, it's kind of like Match.com for volunteers and volunteering. Any nonprofit can put their volunteer needs in, and any volunteer can come and look for volunteer opportunities. You can have skills-based volunteer opportunities where you say, hey, I'm an IT expert, I'd love to help with this. It's fantastic for our nonprofits because it keeps our overhead low. The Heart of Illinois United Way, we really believe in low overhead. More than 89% of every single dollar that comes in goes back into programs. That's critical. This is a very important thing. You're all welcome to use it at any point. Highly encourage you to use that. There's also a new section called Activate for Disasters. We work with the county health departments so that we can be prepared for disasters before they happen. So that when something does happen, we don't have a bunch of people running up and trying to give their old cocktail dresses or loaves of bread to a church, but instead we're planning in advance for this. It's a great resource for this community, and we love doing it. We also offer lots of educational opportunities, whether it's a poverty simulation so that people can understand what it's like to live in poverty. It sounds very easy to say, pull yourself up by your bootstraps, get a job, and figure it out. It's a lot more complicated than that. It's very expensive to live in poverty. More than happy to take you all through that at any point. We have online options and an in-person option. And we also offer something called Board Serve, which helps people understand how to be good, strong board members. It's another reason why we have strong nonprofits. It's because we have strong boards that are willing to ask tough questions, to hold us accountable to high standards, which I think is critical to all of our success. I think that's my last slide. Did I forget anything? Thanks.
All right, thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to come and be united with our Heart of Illinois friends across the river. I don't know if you two know this, but I actually jokingly say that we are the little brother over here to Hardy, Illinois. Because United Way Pekin, we are actually a lot smaller. See if I can get the clicker to work. So I'm the executive director. I'm Keith McKeever. I actually have big shoes to fill. Heather was the executive director here in town before I was. That's our current leadership and the Tazewell County campaign coordinator. Let me get this to work here. There we go. Look this way so I can actually read. So we actually serve Pekin, South Pekin, North Pekin, Marquette Heights, Hopedale, and Tremont areas. United Way Pekin has been around since 1954. And I actually love spreadsheets too. I don't know if you know this. And going through our office, one of the things I've been doing since I took over is digitizing a lot of things. Our office is small. Heather will know, don't laugh too much. A lot of paper in our office. I've actually found a lot of documents going back to the beginning. And I'm actually proud to report, this is the first time publicly I'm saying this, $21 million going back to 1954 has been raised from this community, given back into these communities that we focus. Obviously, we focus on the same objectives, and some of the data from a couple years ago that I pulled was 1 in 4 people here in our area is supported by our partner agencies. As you guys name it this way. Some of the things we did in the last year, we participated in United Way Worldwide's annual day of action. We did a resume and mock job interview in partnership with the Pekin Public Library. We've overhauled our website and social media presences. We've onboarded a volunteer management platform. It's not quite exactly what they've got over there, but it's another process. And we've developed a brand new strategic plan and a multi-year budget that's very comprehensive. Some things that you might want to know about United Way Pekin in our area. Here in our area, we've got about 3,000 students, and like Jennifer and Heather had said, the students right now, mental health is a huge impact. Part of this job and what we do at United Way, I think pretty much everybody's role at United Way, no matter what where you're at, is being out there and being active in the community, going into the schools, talking to counselors, talking to everybody in the community. The number one thing I think I've heard in the last year is how much these children were affected by COVID and doing school online. Their mental health, the social emotional needs, it is very serious. These kids need a lot of help, a lot of resources, and it's very apparent. We get a lot of phone calls for housing related issues. Some of the phone calls, there's just 2 of us in our office. The phone calls we get sometimes are absolutely heartbreaking. I'm not gonna lie, my assistant and I sometimes have shed a couple of tears after the conversations that we've had with people trying to point them to 211 or resources that we know of in the community, knowing sometimes that there might just not be any help for these people, and it sucks to have to do that, but we try and point them in the directions that we can to give them the help that we can. Violence prevention and support for survivors continues to be a big issue. Basic financial skills continues to be an issue for people. So that's some of the big things. Here's our partner agencies that we're funding this year. We got 13 partner agencies that have programs that we're funding. And there's our contact information if you have any questions.
Great. Well, thank you so much for the presentation, and I know you do serve so many people in Tazewell County. If anybody wants a copy of the book there, they'll be up here afterwards. So Heather, Keith, and Jennifer, thank you so much. All right, we also have 2 proclamations this evening. The first one is on our Hunger Action Month. And Amy, if you want to come up and just give a brief summary and read some of the whereas.
Good evening. Thanks for taking some time to hear a little bit about Hunger Action Month. We have many partners who have been working for this past month on all kinds of activities to raise awareness about folks in our community who are in need of food. Monday night I was at my board meeting, the Board of Health, and I have 2 board members who work with their church pantries. Both of them reported great increases in people. For Tazewell County, we have really been seeing those increases, and overall, we're seeing increases across the Tri-County. Currently, from Feeding America, we have 23,730 in Peoria County that have been identified as food insecure, 14,430 citizens in Tazewell County. and 3,760 in Woodford County. So we'd like to thank you for taking just a minute to recognize the proclamation, and to David for allowing that to happen, and the board to allow this. We feel very strongly in this work, and if anyone would have any questions, concerns, or if you have an interest in working on those types of projects, please just let me know, and we'll make sure we can get you connected.
Thank you, Amy, for all the work that you're doing. I'm going to read the first whereas and then the now therefore. So whereas hunger and poverty are issues of vital concern in Illinois, where 12% of people face hunger in Illinois, and 1 in every 9 children do not know where their next meal will come from. Then there are several other whereases. Now therefore, the Tazewell County Board hereby recognizes September 2024 as Hunger Action Month in the Tri-County, and I call this observance to the attention of our citizens. So thank you, Amy, for everything. We do have one more proclamation, and we have Mary Taylor and Carol Murda. If you could come up to the podium and just give us a brief background. Anybody else you want to bring also, please feel free.
Thank you, Chairman Zimmerman. Appreciate you very much. County board members, good to be with you. My name is Carol Murna. I am the CEO at the Center for Prevention of Abuse. With me this evening is Kristen Mueller, who is our Chief Financial Officer, and Barry Pinter, who runs our Order of Protection Office located in the Tazewell County Courthouse. We are proud suppliers of services to survivors from Tazewell County for almost 50 years. And we are so grateful for your support. County Board Member Crawford reminded me of how many years Tazewell County has been financially supportive of the Center for Prevention of Abuse, which in this case, because tonight we're talking about a very broad issue of Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and the Center for Prevention of Abuse, while providing many services in this area, is just a symbol. It's a symbol of all the work that's being done across the country. You know, the physical and emotional scars of domestic violence cast a long shadow. They last for many years. We did a conference on childhood trauma in May, and the data involved in what happens to a child that experiences or witnesses domestic violence into their adult life is astonishing. It can actually take 20 years off of their life because of the fight or flight response that they're constantly thrown into. But we believe that no individual, regardless of circumstance, ability, gender identity, age, culture, race, needs to face the pain and fear that is domestic violence. So during Domestic Violence Awareness Month, we shine a bright light on the topic that we believe that everyone deserves peace everywhere in the community, at home, at church, in school, and we work very hard to accomplish that. It is a basic human right to live free from violence and abuse. So we want to pledge that we ensure that every victim realizes that they are not alone, that there is a safe place to come, that there are safe places to go, that there are supportive communities like Tazewell County, and we want them to seek justice and enjoy full and happy lives. Domestic violence is a societal issue. It is a public health crisis, and we are grateful for your involvement and look forward to working with you for many years to come. Big thank you to Mary Taylor from the Family Violence Coordinating Council for coordinating this proclamation. It's very important to us at the center and to all those that work in the field of survivor services. So thank you.
Thank you, Carol. And Mary, do you want to talk about what your role is? And I know you said you didn't feel like speaking properly.
I would just like to say that I'm the coordinator for the Family Violence Coordinating Council that serves the 10th Judicial Circuit, and we've been in existence since about 1993. I just wanted to thank Peoria, Tazewell County Board. You know, we couldn't do it without the help of law enforcement here, the courts, and county board. You know, there's people like, United Way that just spoke. I mean, when I listen to them, I just think we are so lucky to have the rich resources that we have here in Tazewell County. And Carol's agency, I mean, they work 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, 362 days a year, 52 days a year. And, you know, they are tireless in their efforts, and they support, you know, they offer the resources and support to these families, where there's child abuse, elder abuse, human trafficking, abuse of people with disabilities. We're very lucky here in our community to have this collaborative effort, and I can't thank Tazewell County enough for recognizing this, and thank you so much.
Well, thank you both, Mary and Carol. I'm going to read the first whereas and then therefores at the end. When you have the opportunity, please read the proclamation yourself. But whereas domestic violence is a serious and pervasive crime affecting millions of women, men, and children in communities in the United States every year. And then, therefore, we call on Tazewell County law enforcement, health officials, and all community programs to speak out against domestic violence and actively support local efforts to assist survivors of violence to be safe and live their lives free from violence, to hold abusers and systems accountable, and to respect and honor all citizens of Tazewell County. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Tazewell County Board hereby recognizes October 2024 as Domestic Violence Awareness Month in Tazewell County, and we call this observance to the attention of all of our citizens. So Carol and Mary and your staff, thank you so much. And I think I've talked with Carol in the past. I mean, it happens everywhere, in socioeconomically poor neighborhoods and socioeconomically high neighborhoods too. It's just hidden from a lot of us. So thank you for the work that you do. All right, any communications from elected or appointed county officials? Okay.
Wanted to remind the board, tomorrow, early voting for the presidential election begins. Tazewell County will be mailing out tomorrow morning 10,000 vote-by-mail ballots. The most we've processed prior to 2020 was 4,000. So for 10,000 to go out, it shows you the dramatic increase these last several years. We have another 1,500 that are yet to be processed. They're still moving through. So they'll go out probably on Friday, another 1,500. So I estimated we will end this election with 12,000. It's looking as if we may exceed that. Wanted to bring to your attention, some of you may have heard, others may not have heard, that the State Board of Elections offices were evacuated on Friday because of a threat that was received in the mail. Our office and all offices through the state are prepared for something similar to that to occur. It happened in 15 other states and hit Springfield's office on Friday. So there is some real concerns out there with this election that we are taking action on and working with partners to mitigate. To that extent, there was a press release sent out today from all of the election authorities in the state of Illinois, from the Illinois Association of County Clerks and Reporters. I'm not going to read it, I emailed it to all of you. The press release calls attention that our offices have always been open and accessible to all individuals. Anybody who has concerns, has questions about the process, wants to know how we safeguard our elections, please come to our offices and ask us. We want to talk with you. If that hasn't been clear in the past, we wanted to take this proactive approach the first time we've ever sent out a press release like this, the association, to invite the public to come and talk with us. Any concerns any individual has, we will take the time to answer your questions and show you how elections are safe and secure in the state of Illinois. So please, if you know of individuals who have those questions, concerns, point them in our direction so that we can talk with them. The only way we can have a secure democracy is by having safe and secure elections. And anybody who has questions on that, we want to take the time to answer them. Thanks for your time.
All right, any other elected or appointed county officials? Seeing none, can I get a motion to approve the minutes from August 28th? Motion by Mingus, second by Nelms. Any corrections, deletions, additions? All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the minutes pass. I'm gonna switch the meetings around just a little bit and do in-place human resources first, because we do have an attorney here. So, Nick, you're, gonna run the meeting tonight?
I'm understanding I'm the Uber driver tonight. I'm not sure where we're going, but tips are appreciated. Sandy, would you call the roll?
Chairman Rich Stimson, Vice Chair Harris, Atkins,
Here.
Shepherd,
Here.
Goddard, Graff,
Here.
Longfellow,
Here.
Mennel,
Here.
Meekness,
Here.
Trail, Schneider, Stahl,
Here.
Mayor Form.
Thank you. Can I get a motion to go into executive session pursuant to 5 ILCS 120/2 subsection C subsection 2 collective bargaining or salary schedules? Mennel, Longfellow, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are in executive session at 6:37 p.m.